Hello, and welcome to Jamie's Kitties Corner. We will be reading Ben and Annie's Ready or Not game story. Ben and Annie were siblings who loved to spend time together. They raced after school, strolled through the park with their parents, and filled their days with laughter. However, they weren't always the best listeners. One game they love so much is hide and seek. Despite their parents' frequent warnings, they couldn't resist playing the game, even when they weren't supposed to. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Counting to 10. Here I come, Ben would shout, and Annie would scramble to find the perfect hiding spot, determined not to be found. One day, their class took a field trip to a large farm in the countryside. The bus ride was filled with chatter and excitement as the children eagerly anticipated the sights and sounds of the farm. When they arrived, the teachers guided the students from one stable to the next. "Look at the horse galloping," Annie exclaimed. They fed the hens and even sat by a stream watching fish swim by. It was an unforgettable experience. Soon, it was time for lunch. The children were given some free time to play within a designated area. Still buzzing from the adventure, Ben and Annie decided to play their favorite game, hide and seek. "In a place this big, you'll never find me," Ben teased. Annie, determined to win, replied confidently, "I will, you'll see." "Ready or not, here I come," Annie shouted, covering her eyes and counting. Ben, feeling the thrill of the game, glanced around. The farm was vast, and his eyes landed on an old barn in the distance. Perfect. Without hesitation, he sprinted toward it, moving beyond the area the teachers had allowed. The barn door creaked as he slipped inside. The scent of hay filled his nose, and golden light streamed through the wooden slats. "She'll never find me here," he whispered, climbing up to the hayloft. Meanwhile, Annie finished counting and opened her eyes. Her excitement turned to worry as she checked every corner of the play area. "Ben?" she called out. No answer. "Ben, you win! Come out now!" As the teachers gathered the students for the bus, Annie's stomach tightened with fear. She hesitated before approaching Miss Thompson. I can't find Ben," she said, her voice shaking. The teachers' faces turned serious. They quickly organized a search, calling Ben's name. Farm workers and even the police joined in. Up in the barn, Ben had dozed off in the warmth of the hay. He woke with a jolt to the distant sound of voices. Realizing it was getting late, he hurried to climb down, but his foot slipped on the loose hay. With a sickening crack, he landed hard on his arm. Pain shot through him, and tears filled his eyes. "Help!" he cried out, his voice shaky. "I'm here! Help!" A farm worker finally heard him and rushed in, finding Ben cradling his broken arm. Paramedics arrived quickly, and soon he was taken to the hospital, where doctors placed his arm in. That evening, in the hospital room, his parents weren't angry, just relieved and disappointed. "We make rules to keep you safe," their dad said softly, "not to spoil your fun." Annie sat by Ben's side, holding his good hand. "I'm sorry I suggested we play," she whispered. Ben looked at his cast and sighed. "I'm sorry too. I got carried away and didn't think about being safe. Or how worried everyone would be." From that day on, Ben and Annie still played together, but they found new games to enjoy, ones that didn't involve hiding from the people who cared about them. And when their parents made rules, they understood there was usually a good reason why. Well, kids, always listen to your parents.